Welcome. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this Sunday service of the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Grand Traverse. I'm Cal Bolter, member of the Sunday Services Committee. Here at UUCGT, we welcome people of every background, identity, and age. Whether you're here in the sanctuary or joining us online, whether it's your first time or your 100th, we're so glad you're with us. If you are visiting with us today, we'd love to get to know you. If you're comfortable, we invite you to stand and introduce yourself. A microphone will be brought to you so everyone here online and online can hear. Any visitors this morning that would care to announce that? Well, perhaps not so. If you're new to us this morning, at any rate, you're welcome during coffee hour to grab a yellow mug. We can identify you and greet you. Later in the service, we'll share joys and concerns, and you're invited to write yours, and as is being done right now. They'll be read by a member of the congregational care team. You're also welcome to light a candle for your joy or concern at any point during the service. Announcements. Women's Night celebration, recognizing the unnoticed labor of women, is Wednesday, July 29th at 6 p.m. in the social hall. See the flash to RSVP or talk to Marty Matter for more details. Join us Friday, July 31st for a showing of the film A Water Trail featuring our guest Amber Hassan. Pizza and beverage provided. Please RSVP to Social Justice or via the link in the flash and Facebook events. I'm announcing now our speaker, Amber Hassan, and the following I quote from Title Track Co-Executive Director Seth Bernard. Quote, "When I think about Amber Hassan, I think about integrity, authenticity, and an enduring commitment to community care. I think about her transcendent artistry. I think about healing. Amber is a healer. She draws from a deep well of experience and tradition. She improvises in the moment like a jazz musician." We are so grateful to welcome Amber to the, this is, as I mentioned, Amber Hassan has been writing for as long as she can remember. She sees writing as sacred, a vehicle for feeling spiritually whole and fulfilling her life purpose. In addition to being a writer, she's a wife, mother, actor, hip-hop artist, herbalist, and community organizer. She owns a natural product line called Mama's Healing Hands that was originally started to address the hair loss and skin rashes suffered by Flint residences during the Flint water crisis. She's co-founder of the Sister Tour Artist Collective, a grassroots organization created to offer resources and safe spaces for women artists and entrepreneurs. Amber's work focuses on bringing light to dark places and situations while also helping others to find and use their voices as tools of empowerment. Opening words. Okay.
We'll now enjoy some centering music.
Good morning. Oh, y'all woke this morning. Everybody must have had coffee. That's good. That's good. So it has been a lot of years since I have been in a non-Islamic service. But I was born and raised in the African Methodist Episcopal Church. That is where my grandparents went and where I love to go because my grandmother was on the food committee. So I would eat all during service. I would go down to the basement and eat. But I would like to give honor to the creator of all things, who is the head of my life. I would like to give all honor and praise there. I would like to thank members, friends, congregation leadership for having me, for allowing this space. And I would like to welcome all of you to being caught in my web for the day. You get to listen to me talk, so you get to see what my parents had to go through for at least 18 years. You get to be a captive audience, and I thank you for trusting enough to come out and listen to what I have to say, because, I mean, that's the only way that we build understanding and that we figure out how much that we have in common is when we trust each other enough to listen. So thank you for being here to listen, to be in community. And so now we are going to have the lighting of the chalice. And I was supposed to say a little something, but I didn't really know too much about the lighting of the chalice, so I had to go look, because when we don't know, we should go look, right? And I don't ever want to be disrespectful to anybody else's beliefs or my own, so I always want to know what I'm doing. And so the lighting of the chalice is a symbol of hope, a symbol of the sacred, a quest for truth, and the warmth of the community. It's a light of reason, and I think that that is a beautiful way to symbolize hope, to symbolize growth, and to symbolize a path to the future. Because if we don't have light, then we have no thing to follow as we head into dark spaces. So.
Would you please rise in body or in spirit and join me in singing this morning's opening hymn, found in your teal hymnal, number 1069. This is Ancient Mother. We'll sing through it 3 times. Ancient Mother, I hear you calling. Ancient Mother, I hear your song. Ancient Mother, I feel your laughter. Ancient Mother, I taste your tears. Ancient Mother, I hear you calling. Ancient Mother, I hear your song. Ancient Mother, I feel your laughter. Ancient Mother, I taste your tears. Ancient Mother, I hear you calling. Ancient Mother, I hear your song. Ancient Mother, I feel your laughter. Ancient Mother,
Good morning. Well, this is a time in our service when we name and honor the joys and concerns that were shared by our brothers and sisters this last week. The milestones and moments of our lives offered up for us to hold in our hearts. I'm Bill Hislop, a member of the Congressional Care Committee, and I will be sharing with you what was written in our book today. If you have concerns that are a bit too tender to share publicly, please reach out to any member of the Congressional Care Committee. Normally we have the purple ribbons on our name tags. You can also light a candle anytime during the service to honor it silently during the stone meditation prayer, knowing that you and your concerns are embraced by this community. Nobody is meant to travel life's journey alone. Let's say it together. Nobody is meant to travel life's journey alone. Okay, and here is what was offered up to share today. From Margaret Wozniak, the funeral service for Paul Ward will be at the coming Saturday at 11 o'clock at Reynolds John Koff, I guess it is, funeral home, with his ashes buried here in at 1 o'clock. From Mary Van Valen, I am grateful for 5 Canadians who helped us get out of the deep woods in Canada. The car was in a ditch and they figured out how to get it out. We were saved by brilliant Canadians. Yes. I am feeling very excited, this is from Anne Marie, feeling very excited about attending the AUUMM conference with Catherine this year. What is the AAUM?
The Association of Unitarian Universalist Music Ministers.
All right, thank you. With Catherine this year. We will be road tripping to Milwaukee on Wednesday. Can't wait to share all that we learned. Thank you. And that was it for this week. And now the stone meditation.
Please join me in singing our song of response, Spirit of Life. Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea.
So I know on the program it says that the poem I'm doing is called The Water Remembers. But because I'm an artist, I decided that I was gonna do a different piece. Because today, the shirt I'm wearing is actually a shirt of a friend who passed away. Some of you in the community may know her, Holly Bird. So at her celebration of life, Holly Palooza that they had this year, they have a beautiful tradition within their culture where they have their things for their loved ones to come and take some of their things and take them back home with them. And so I've seen her in this shirt, and so I grabbed this shirt. And so I'm gonna read this poem, which is about her, that I did at her memorial, because she was a water protector in all ways. And I thought that it would be fitting. So I'm gonna try to make it through this. So we are all cousins now, because y'all gonna probably see me cry, okay? Some women build nests in impossible places. Inside eviction notices, inside shelters, inside movement meetings with bad coffee, inside courtrooms where nobody pronounced our names correctly, inside the backseat of borrowed cars, inside tired bodies, inside countries that confuse survival with miracle. I know women who made homes out of almost nothing. A scarf over a lamp, rice on the stove, music low enough not to wake the babies, laughter stretched across grief like plastic over broken windows in winter. I know women who carried twigs in their mouths for years, little pieces of softness, little pieces of maybe tomorrow, little pieces of sit down, baby, you look hungry, little pieces of text me when you get home. Nest ain't always pretty. Sometimes they look like aunties raising children that ain't theirs. Sometimes they look like women sleeping with one eye open. Sometimes they look like prayer circles in parking lots. Sometimes they look like protest camps beside poison water. Sometimes they look like staying alive one more week. Birds know something about fragility, know something about wind pressure, about migration, about building despite destruction, about singing while the branch shakes beneath them. Holly felt like one of those women. The kind who understood that protecting people means constantly rebuilding shelter for folks the world keeps trying to leave exposed. And maybe that's what love is, really. Nest making. Finding scraps of warmth in a violent world and weaving them together anyway. Maybe revolution itself is just a giant nest, made from exhausted women who still somehow remember to carry softness between their teeth, who want to be held like a shoreline holds water, like branches hold tired wings, like women hold entire collapsing communities without nobody noticing the shaking in their hands. Because the truth is, every bird ain't searching for freedom. Some of them are just searching for somewhere safe enough to finally land. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Amber. Each Sunday, we conduct a ritual called the offering. And this is the part where we ask for money. And I appreciate the words shared by Amber Hassan when Cal and I met with her to prepare for this service. And we talked about the offering a bit. And Amber said, if you don't ask for it, you're never going to get it. Thank you, Amber. I feel better now. Much like water is central to sustaining life, it is your spirit, presence, and generosity that sustains this congregation. UUCGT, well, last I looked, receives no pennies from heaven. No big endowment or outside sources. I looked at all those bills. Dave Newhouse threw all over it last time. Not much, not much. It is you. This offering is an affirmation and support of this congregation. So, ushers will pass baskets with two sides. One side supports the life and mission of this congregation. Excuse me. The other supports needs in the community, including local food programs, shelters, and services for those most vulnerable, as well as social justice initiatives. You can also give by using the options on the screen. Also, in the entryway, there is on the left side, there is a standing sign that has information about the endowment in honor of Rev. Alex Jensen. You can use the QR code on the sign if you're inclined that way, or you can do like me and just pick up an envelope right there by the sign and give to the endowment. If you give by check or through any app, please note in the memo line or comment field whether your gift is your pledge for community needs or endowment so that it can be sent in the right direction. If this is your first time, I don't know if we have first-timers here today, but if it is, oh, hi. Let the basket pass. Your presence is gift enough. And all of you, every gift, no matter how large or small, is received with deep gratitude. And just as an insert, somebody dropped a watch in the parking lot. And come and see me after the service, and I will make sure it goes to you. And we now gratefully receive the offering.
I got excited when I heard that song. I don't know if y'all are Outlander fans too. Me, I got excited because I knew the song. How y'all doing? Again. Okay. I want to be mindful of this so I don't knock it over because I'm a little bit clumsy, so I might knock it over. This is totally interactive, right? So I know that sometimes when you are in spiritual places, everybody wants to be quiet and everything. Feel free, laugh, say, whatever you want to say. If it's rude, I'm going to just ignore it anyway. So. It was free to get in, so you should be fine. So the poem that I was going to do was called The Water Remembers. So what I'm going to talk to you about, and I'm going to try to keep it within my 20 minutes, is actually going to be titled The Water Remembers. So a few years ago, we were working on a project with a photographer, LaToya Ruby Frazier, who is an amazing photographer, right? And the University of Michigan asked us to, and when I say us, I mean the Sister Tour, which is an arts collective that I helped found. They asked us to put together a performance, a theatrical performance. We do like these kind of semi-improvisational performances, right? And so they asked us to put one together, and the theme of the exhibits that they had going on was like, it was about the Great Lakes, and it was about water and our connection to water and just, you know, everything water, how we protect it. And so we always like to create from our perspective, right? I don't want to ever give you anybody else's perspective. I'm not that creative. I'm a person who always has to have some type of connection to me, right? So the Water Remembers is this journey, because we started to think about ourselves as Black women. And as Black women, sometimes within environmental activist communities, our voices, our faces, our presence is not centered, even though we are always doing this work, right? If it's community work being done, let me tell you who's there. Black women and women over 40, always. Like, that's who you're gonna find there all the time, okay? And so we wrote this piece, and we wanted to think historical. So we went on this historical journey from as far back as we could with our research and knowledge and time constraints we had. We went as far back as we could go. So I'm gonna start where this performance started. This performance is available online somewhere. You can ask that man in the orange shirt later, and you can see the whole show. So it starts with the story of Hajar, who in the Bible is known as Hagar, right? This was the second wife of the prophet Abraham, or as in the Islamic faith, we call him Ibrahim. And so this is following the Islamic story of Hajar and her son Ishmael, right? And so story has it that her and Abraham was given the message to take her to the desert. And he was to take her and this small baby that was still nursing out to the desert, and he was instructed to leave them there, right? And Hajar was much younger than Abraham, and she had this new baby who was her only child, and she is getting taken out to the desert and left, right? She really has no context for what's going on, but she's like, hey, did God tell you to do this? And Abraham let her know that this was what he was instructed to do. So she was like, oh, I'm good then. I'm taken care of. I'm taken care of. If God told, I don't even, like, you are not my source of sustenance anyway. You know, like, God is my source of sustenance. So Hajar's out in the desert. She has this little bit of food and water that she was left with. Her baby starts to cry, and her baby's hungry. If you've ever nursed a baby, you know if you're dehydrated, you cannot nurse a baby, okay? She's in the middle of the Arabian desert. There's these two hills, Safa and Marwa. And so she wants to go to the high spots to see if she can find water, if she can see if there are people out here, whatever. So she runs between these two hills, like praying, like, you know, God help me, send me some sustenance. And the seventh time, when she gets to one of these peaks, she looks down and she sees this being above where she left her child in the valley. So she rushes there, and as she's rushing there, a well springs up. And she's yelling out, Zem, Zem, which means like stop. She wanted the water to stop because she thought the water was gonna run out. That water is the well of Zamzam, which is still producing water in Mecca, Saudi Arabia right now. That water was bestowed upon this woman, this African, formerly enslaved woman, for her and her child. So she's out in the desert, and, you know, she's there by herself, just her and her child, and some travelers see birds above this area. So if they see birds, what is there? Water. So they go and they ask her, can we stay here with you? And she's like, sure, you can stay here, you can live here, but you do not control the water. Because she knew the importance and the sacredness of the water. She knew that to give up control of that water meant that, and this was a sacred gift to her, right? Meant that somebody could do whatever they wanted to do with this water. So she protected that sacredness of water. So, boom. And that's an African-American transitionary phrase, boom. If I say boom, that means we move it to another point, okay? So boom, okay? Then you go over to West Africa, to Ghana, right? And when we talk about the slave trade, we sometimes kind of like make it very black and white, very, easy to digest. But there were slave markets set up in Ghana that were controlled by the Ghanaian government. So, meaning the Ghanaians were complicit in the slave trade, right? If we're gonna call something what we're gonna call it, we're gonna be real about it. So they had this tree called the tree of Ouida. Now, the tree of Ouida was what they would have the enslaved people go around before getting onto the slave ships, because the king had been told by some of his magicians or whatever they were called in that time. He was told by them, if these people go around the tree a certain amount of times, they will forget, and their spirit will not be able to cross the water to come back and haunt you, because his fear was that these spirits that control the water were going to allow people, their spirits, to come back and haunt him for selling them, right? And so we always look at water as if water is this resource for us to use, and not that water is water is a being just like us, right? It has memory just like we do. It remembers way more than we remember, right? And so he understood this memory of water, and he was trying to block that memory and not allow those spirits to come back. So as Black women, we already start off with kind of this complicated relationship genetically on a cellular level with water, because on one hand, the water was this saving grace for Hajar, right? And then boom, this water is used as a mode of transportation, as a way to have us taken from our homes and brought to this place where we are now property. So boom, we get to the United States. And a lot of the people who were brought from West Africa, many of them were brought from Nigeria. Many of them were Yoruba. And in the Yoruba faith, they have what's called Orishas. And the Orishas are, to not go too deep, there are deities, right? And so there's a pantheon of Orishas. One Orisha in this pantheon is Yemaya, sometimes known as Yemoja, in different traditions, because these traditions spread wherever these people who were kidnapped spread to. So you'll find remnants of it in Brazil, in the Caribbean, and it shows up differently, but Yemoja or Yemaya is always the protector of water. She's also the protector of mothers. And so a lot of people brought that belief with them, that the reason that they were able to be sustained, the reason that they did not die on this journey, the reason that they were able to have descendants like me still standing here 400 or 500 years later is because they believed that they were protected by Yemoja. So then we have that relationship as Black women with water and with the sacredness of it. So boom, 1803. 1803, off the coast of South Carolina, there is this ship coming in, and this ship capsizes. And I'm giving y'all part of the story, but I'm missing details, so y'all can go research this later, okay? This is called the Igbo Landing, IGBO, the name of the tribe of the people, the Igbo Landing. And so these people were taken, this ship capsized, and they're just out here. The ship capsized, the the captains didn't really know what to do with the people, and they still wanted to enslave these people, right? Even though the ship capsized, they, let's sell them. So some people bought them, put them on another boat. They said, nah, we're not going. So they mutinied. This ship also was capsized. And instead of going and becoming enslaved, these 75 captives walked into the water. And the legend behind it is that they only found a few bodies in this shallow area. They were only able to recover a few bodies. The legend is that they flew back across the water. And so there were some people, and it was not just the Igbos of the Igbo landing, some people were so determined to have freedom that they would jump off the side of ships, to the point where the eating habits of the sharks in the Atlantic Ocean, if you follow the path from West Africa to the United States, the sharks still follow this path because that's how many people were thrown into the water. Anything I'm telling you, you can go research, okay? I might not have dates and stuff right, but the story is together. Okay, so boom. We passed the Igbo landing, and we are still dealing with being enslaved, and we have people like Harriet Tubman, right? And she used the water as a tool to be able to transport people. Now, we had been transported across water into enslavement, and then she used water and her knowledge of the waterways and how they worked to get people to freedom, and she kept doing it. She kept doing it, right? And so there was this song, Wade in the Water, that was used, and many people are like, oh, it's an African American spiritual. This is a covert song used by a network of spies, okay? Let's not just make this cute like Harriet Tubman was somebody's grandmother. She was a young, spry woman when she was out there moving people, okay? And this was a covert song of resistance. This was a song of revolution. This was a song that could get you killed if people found out what it meant. So when you sing it, or if you heard it sung somewhere, always remember that this is not just like, this song has so many layers to it. If you heard this song being sung while you were out in the fields, you knew that tonight was the night. But you also knew that there are other people listening that might throw a monkey wrench in your plans. So this song is not to be, sung and used lightly. This song carries heavy, heavy tradition. So then you move into the point of time where African Americans are no longer enslaved. We are free, right? But then you have all these Jim Crow laws, and even in the North, there were all these things put in place to keep us segregated. One of those things was not having access to the water, not having access to beaches. If you look like the early 1900s, there were situations like in Chicago, there was a young man murdered for trying to use the beach on the 4th of July, early 1900s. If you look at that time, the United States was putting in all these community centers, and they had pools. Everybody's community had a community pool back then. The reason we don't have a lot of those community pools anymore is because when segregation happened, people did not want to share pools with Black people. So they would put acid in the water. They would put nails in the pools to keep them from swimming. So when you hear the myth that Black people can't swim, it is not because they have not tried to swim, okay? And a lot of us can swim. I learned to swim when I was really young. Breaking stereotypes every day. So that a lot of that comes from the fact that beaches, like Idlewild in Michigan, the reason Idlewild was established as a community was to give Black people a place that they could go in the summer and be safe and use a lake and swim and have, culture around water. And then you had, so that relationship with water, that fear, that, that stigma placed between us and water. Then you have the civil rights movement, where water is used, again, as a tool of oppression. Water is used in hoses. You know how hard that water comes out of a fire hydrant? Water is being used as a tool to harm young, mainly black kids who are protesting to try to have human rights. And then you have where our story of the Water Remembers kind of came into its end. We talked about how, as especially black women with our hair, the way that our hair grows out of his head is a lot of times seen as unprofessional, as unkempt, as not desirable, to the point where we have to change chemically or with heat a lot of times. Well, it's getting better now, but we have had to change the texture and the consistency of our hair to make other people comfortable, to make other people believe that we are intelligent or that we are worthy of having a job at a certain place. You know what I'm saying? And one of our biggest culprits is water, because the water remembers, right? And the water remembers what my hair really looks like. The water is always gonna humble you, and it's gonna bring you back to that original state. And I think that water has that ability of cleansing. And sometimes we want to be cleansed in a way that is comfortable and palatable for us, right? And sometimes we need to be cleansed in a way that shows us transparently and that gives us the opportunity to be our fullest self. And I think that as someone who works as a water protector, that is my biggest thing. I did not plan to be a water protector, okay? It came into my city. I'm from Flint, Michigan, and so because of decisions made by the government, and I know people are always like, get out and vote. We voted against it, okay? The governor sent in sent in a city manager for whatever reason, and he made whatever decisions he wanted to make to save about $30. And so it was something that I had to do because it affected my children. It affected me, my drinking water. It affected my neighbors. It affected my parents. It affected everybody I knew. And so I didn't make this choice. And sometimes I think that a lot of the activists who are grassroots, who are doing real deal community organizing, aren't seen, aren't heard, aren't celebrated because they did not choose to do this. This was not like, oh, I'm gonna go off on this crusade and save the poor people or save the orcas. I don't know whatever happened to that movement in the 80s and 90s. People were really, really big on saving the whales. I don't know where that conversation went, but I'm still here for it. I think we might have did a good job on that one. But I feel that those people aren't celebrated because those people are still working 9-to-5 jobs. Those people are still raising families. Those people are still being regular humans, and they don't see the work that they do around clean water, around racial justice, around, gender equality, around all of these things. They see this as a way that they live their life because nobody else was doing it. And so within this, we created and we didn't create it on purpose, again, it just happened, what is called the ANT model of community organizing. And it's using accessible tools, your network, and give me the T, and your talents. And so that is all we had. We did not have a lot of money. We had our things that we walk into this world with every day. And so all of you have something that you walk into this world with every day that can be used to change this world. Each and every one of us have something, whether it's your ability to play the piano or your singing voice or your organizational skills or, whatever it is that you have, you can offer those things. And it's enough. It's always enough. Showing up is enough. You being here right now, right here, listening to me, you didn't know what I was coming here to say, right? Is enough because it establishes the fact that you care. It establishes the fact that you are not disconnected, you are not an island, and that you are working to be better, to do better, and to have us come together in better ways. I don't know where I'm at as far as time because I lost track. I'm at 20. Okay, great. So, do you want me to move right into or? So I have a little time. That is beautiful. I like when I get done early. Does anybody have any questions, comments, anything?
Where can we see your artwork?
Where can that is an amazing question, and you like your voice is deceptive because I didn't think you was gonna have that big old voice in your body. Okay, but you can find my work at thesistertour.com. So if you go to thesistertour.com, it has links to most of the work I do. You can also, this gentleman right here in this orange shirt on. You can ask him any of the questions. I just do the art and then I just like throw it on his lap and I say, do something with this. And he always does fabulous things with the raw material that I give him. But thank you for that question.
What is your current work with Flint?
My current work with Flint is going to be my always work with Flint. It is figuring out how I can use what I have to help Flint be better, because Flint is not just the water crisis. Flint has so many layers of issues that we are working through because we were a city that was beholden to maybe 2 or 3 large corporations. And so when those corporations decided we were no longer worthy of being their children, they just let us go. And so we're trying to figure out now how to be, I think, autonomous as a city. I think a lot of cities get caught up in that. You have this big company come in and they just own everything. Everybody's work is tied to this one little group. And so when they decide to leave or when they go under or what have you, that leaves all of us out in the dark. So I think we're learning how to become autonomous as a city and not depend on, big business.
We've been working, I think, 14 years now to try to get Line 5 shut down, the waters of the Great Lakes. How do you sustain yourself to keep the battle going? Because it just feels like we keep banging up against a brick wall in progress.
Rest. Like, rest is an act of rebellion. Rest is an act of revolution. Rest is something that you do not have to earn. Rest is something that you should plan just like you plan every other thing in your life. You should say, I'm resting during this time. And know what rest looks like for you. You know what I'm saying? Because, like, sometimes we rest and we scroll. And I'm still getting all of this programming in my head while I'm resting. And so figure out ways to rest and ways to remember. I am a cynic to my soul, okay? But I also have to remember to enjoy things. And like, even though I'm always picking everything apart because I see the layers, also enjoy it, right? Because in 20 years, in 30 years, if I'm still here, I want to look back and see some joy and not just a bunch of fights. Because I think if I just fight, that's all I'm going to see. Anybody else? Yes, sir.
Can you give us a little preview of what we're likely to see Friday night?
Well, what you're going to see Friday night is a story. So boom. I was leaving Flint, right? I left Flint because the water. And I loved Puerto Rico. I had been visiting for a couple years, and I was like, I want to live here. Everything fell in line for me to be able to move there, right? And then Hurricane Maria hit. And so, again, when I was saying, like, with the water, like, it cleansing in a way, like, I couldn't avoid whatever this work is that I have to do with water. Like, God was like, nope. Oh, you want to go over here? Like, okay, we'll throw the water over there too. And if you go over here, you'll run into the water over there too, because it really is a reminder that water is something that is universal. I don't care what your socioeconomic status is. I don't care your race, your religion, your, gender, your sexual orientation. If you don't have water, you will die. That is it. We always say water is life, and that sounds so beautiful and fluffy and flowery, right? If you don't have water, you will die. And I think that if we explain it to people like that, people may understand a little bit more. They're like, if you don't have water, you will die, your animals will die, your friends will die. This planet will cease to exist in this way. And I think that the way that the planet is, it's gonna kick all us off before we can, you know what I'm saying, ruin it. I think we'll be gone long before it's gone, okay? And so, like, that's what the movie is about. The movie is kind of about a journey for me into becoming a water protector, into realizing that this was a work that had been charged to me to do, no matter how much I wanted to run from it, no matter how much I didn't want to be a part. Even the project that led to, you know, all of this, I didn't want to be a part of it. We were commissioned to do a spread for Elle magazine, and I was like, no, thank you, because that's not my thing. And the photographer still was like, no, you're going to be a part of this project. And so no matter how hard I fought, I still ended up as what people would call a water protector. And so that's kind of a preview without giving away too much of the ghost. Okay, we at time. Do you want me to, I just roll into, or what do we have next? Because I don't have my paper in my hand. Oh, what? A moment of stillness. Okay, we're gonna have a moment of stillness, y'all. Okay. Okay, I hope I didn't interrupt anybody's moment of stillness. I never know how long to do when I'm doing a moment of stillness. I'm always like, should I count to 10, 15? I don't know. I'm going to discuss that next time somebody tells me to do a moment of stillness. How long? I hope everybody got their still. If anybody else needs some still, blame me. And so I'm going to give y'all a disclaimer. I'm not a singer, right? But I felt like, for some reason, because we're in Traverse City, I felt like I might have been one of the only few black people in here. I don't know how I figured that out, but, you know, you do the math, and, you know, which has never been a bad situation for me in Traverse City. Let me say that. Shout out to Traverse City. I've always felt safe and cared for, okay? So I'm not a singer, but I felt like it was only right to lead this song because, yeah. And so me and Barbara are gonna try to work this out. Hopefully it works. Y'all can join in if you know the words, okay? Okay. Wade in the water, wade in the water, children, wade in the water. God's gonna trouble the water. See that band all dressed in white. God's gonna trouble the water. The leader looks like an Israelite. God's gonna. That's right. Go ahead and clap, brother. Come on, y'all can clap. Wade in the water. Wade in the water, children. Wade in the water. God's gonna trouble the water. All right, we're gonna see that band dressed in red. Come on, keep playing, Barbara. Red. God's gonna trouble the water. They look like the band that Moses led. God's gonna trouble the water. Wade in the water. Wade in the water, children. Wade in the water. God's gonna trouble the water. Y'all sounded amazing. Thank y'all so much. I forgot the words was up here. Thank you, Barbara.
You are invited to hold one another's hands, join hands, or do the classic gesture of I'm not touching anybody today. And we are now going to, Cal, extinguish the chalice. Cal will extinguish the chalice, and I will speak for a moment. As we release the flame, we carry its light with us as we flow together into our individual and collective lives. Shall we carry the strength, flexibility, and resilience like water, never to be taken for granted? May we go with grace, connectivity, and joy. May it be so. Now for some coffee.